What's up everybody, Moto Pilot here. Today we're in the Big Bear Mountains in Southern California and we are test riding the X-Cape 650 from Moto Morini. Now if you haven't heard of Moto Morini, you must be living under a rock. I've been seeing them everywhere. They're in Cycle News, they're on advpulse.com, their Facebook ads keep popping up. I've seen ride tests on this bike from all the prominent moto vloggers on YouTube. You got Brett Tax, Dork in the Road, Big Rock Moto. I recently saw one from Chase on Two Wheels. So this bike is getting out there, and if you're curious about those reviews on YouTube, go check them out. Now Moto Morini may have popped up in the USA just over a year ago, but they have been around for many, many years. The company started in 1937, based out of Italy, near Milan. So they have a ton of history in the motorcycle market. Their headquarters is still based near Milan, Italy, where they do all the design work and all the engineering and all the testing. Even though the bikes are being built in a tier 1 factory in China, in their own factory, by the way, right alongside the factories of KTM, Harley Davidson, BMW. A lot of big manufacturers are turning to China now. Matter of fact, KTM's even got an entire bike being built in China. Like I was saying, Moto Morini is new to the USA, but these bikes have been in Europe for several years. It's actually, the X-Cape is one of the top selling models, so it is a popular brand. So let's take a closer look and I'll show you all the great stuff that comes with this bike. Okay, so let's start with the engine. This engine is a 640cc inline twin, parallel twin, liquid cooled, 60 horsepower, 42.5 pounds-a-foot torque. Now, the design of this motor is actually from Kawasaki. It was licensed by CF Moto, and so CF Moto actually makes this engine and supplies it to Moto Morini. So, because it's that Kawasaki engine design, it's been around for many, many years, I think over 10 years, as a proven, reliable engine. So, not much to worry about there. So up front and in back, you do have Brembo brakes. On the front, you got a dual disc, which is very nice. Combined with the Brembo brakes, you have steel braided calipers for more precise braking. For the front wheel, you've got a 19-inch Acront tubeless. That's right, tubeless, which is great to have, especially on an adventure bike. You get a flat tire on one of these, you plug it, and you're on your way. I was really surprised to see that it has Marzocchi forks. I mean, this is a premium brand that's been around for years. And these are 50 millimeter inverted forks, fully adjustable. Look at that cool little feature right there, a little branding. And you normally, with a bike at this price, do not get full adjustability in your forks. You can adjust your compression, your rebound, and your preload using all these settings up here. Very nice. Up front, you do have all LED lighting. Look at these cool lights, very unique looking front end on this thing. You do have LED blinkers. Let's turn it on. All LED. I can't see it so good in the day. What's cool too is the windscreen is adjustable, 2 inches up and down. Just come back here. You just turn this knob, move this windscreen, turn the knob back. Another cool premium feature you don't see on bikes of this price is you have adjustable hand levers. Just turn this dial right here and you can adjust the reach depending on the size of your hand for people with longer fingers and shorter fingers, both front brake and clutch. You got great Italian styling, nice sharp curves, cool graphics. There's not a bike out there that looks anything like this. So if you're looking for something unique, you have found it. Cool embossed logo here on the gas cap. Now what's cool about this is the gas tank is actually under this plastic right here. So if you crash and damage this, it's very inexpensive to replace versus a really expensive gas tank. It does have a 2-piece seat for rider and passenger. Then it actually comes with a nice luggage rack here and handles for your passenger. For the rear suspension, you have a KYB, which is Kayaba, a shock, and you can adjust the preload right here by turning these rings, and then this right here is your rebound setting. For the back wheel, once again, you got the Acront tubeless wheel. This is a 17-inch wheel. Tires, front and back, are Pirelli, what are they called? Rally STR, so premium tires. Let's take a look at the dash. It's got a really cool boot-up screen. So there are a lot of features here. Right now the screen is in the ride mode, which is like street. You can also switch this to an off-road mode, which gives you a different look. Now here you've got your bike setup. You've got your Bluetooth music, Bluetooth phone, Bluetooth maps. You got your RPMs here, trip meters. You got trip 1, trip 2. Your gas gauge here, odometer, what gear you're in, you got the time. These are the buttons to go in. I want to go into this mode here, so I'll just hit set, which is kind of like enter. Press enter, and now I'm in the bike info mode. For bike info, I can hit set again, and it gives me miles to the next service, how many miles in trip one, my tire pressure. Oh, by the way, it does have tire pressure monitors. It isn't KPA, but if you look down here on the side of the bike, it gives you all the conversions you need right here. 240 KPA is 34.8 PSI. No big deal. Going back up in here, you got your water temperature, the voltage for your battery, your front tire pressure. A lot going on here. It's very nice. So if I go back, go down to connect, and that shows me how to connect my phone to the system. Go back, go down to display. This is where you can change. Now, right now this display is set to auto, which means during the day, I believe the screen is white, and at night the screen goes black automatically. Okay, so now we backed up to the main screen. Down at the bottom here, I'm gonna go down to that by hitting the down arrow, hit right, I hit set. See the little arrows? If I go to off-road, hit set, now it changes the screen of the background, and the RPMs is a tire. Let's start it up. Very cool. So this thing does have a really clean dash. I do like it a lot. Down here you have a dual USB port, which is a nice handy thing that a lot of bikes don't come with. You can adjust the handlebars to 6 different positions. If you look here, there's a hole right there. There's 3 positions for this, mounting here, and then you can take this and spin the whole assembly around to get the bars to even go even further forward or backward. Now, I don't know if you can see it right now, but the hand switches are backlit. See that when you turn the key on, how they light up? Both sides over here. It looks really cool at night. A little glow around all the switches. Cool feature. Once again, here's your adjustability for the reach on your clutch. Down here on your shifter, it does have an arm with an adjustability, so you can adjust your shifter up and down. Now, you might be thinking, why would I want to do that? Well, some people wear taller boots than others, where it's thicker in the toe area. Another thing is, these foot pegs have removable rubber inserts. You can see that's where it normally bolts on from the bottom. And I took them off because I'm not a fan. So if you put those back in and they raise your foot 3/4 of an inch, you're probably going to want to raise the position of your shifter. Now for braking, it does have ABS, and you can turn off the ABS only in the off-road mode. Now when you put this bike in off-road mode, the only thing it does is allow you to change and turn off the ABS, and it changes the look of the screen. It does not change the power output at all, but you don't really need it in a 650 motor. If it was a 1000 maybe, but not a big deal with the 650. Now for suspension travel on the front Marzocchi forks, you've got 6.9 inches. Back here on the KYB shock, 6.5 inches. And ground clearance for the bike down here is 7.5 inches. You got yourself a nice big 4.8 gallon gas tank. And I think what's great about this bike is it has one of the lowest seat heights for adventure bikes. And adventure bikes are known for being very tall. A lot of people won't even get them because of the seat height. This seat is 33.26 inches high. Obviously that's going to drop when you sit on the bike. I'm 5'10", and I can flat foot on this bike, no problem. I normally ride an Africa Twin, and I'm tippy-toe on that thing. Another great thing about this bike is the TFT is 7 inches. That's huge for a TFT, especially on a bike at this price. All right, so that pretty much covers all the features on the bike. Let's throw a leg over it, take it for a ride, and I'm gonna tell you about the rider experience. Now, when you first turn the key on, get the fuel pump going, you gotta give it a minute before you can start it. There you go. You can't hit the starter button right away. No big deal. So I'm just gonna leave the bike in off-road mode. I like the looks of the screen, and it allows me to turn off the ABS if I want. I rarely run ABS anywhere. That's just my thing. Now, obviously, I've been on this bike for a while. I had to ride to get here, about 45 minutes. And I've done quite a bit of time on these bikes, even leading up to that point. So, now, the first thing you notice when you sit on the Escape is the cockpit, of course. and it's comfortable. It's not perfect. I do like the position of the bars and the foot pegs, and you will notice that it's easy to touch the ground when you come to a stop. I personally am not a very big fan of the seat. It kind of locks you in place because of the shape of it, and it's a little too soft for me. But I've watched a lot of reviews and I haven't really heard anybody say the same thing, so it's really just a rider preference kind of a thing. And if you don't like that, they do offer a little bit taller seat that's a one-piece seat that doesn't really lock you in place. If you're wondering why my engine sounds weird compared to the footage you're watching, my microphone up in the mountains went bad, so I'm filming this again on the streets near my house, more of a voiceover. The second thing you notice when you ride this bike for the first time is the motor. For me, coming off a 1000cc Africa Twin with 94 horsepower compared to this one's 60 horsepower, obviously I was like a little unexcited. But the more I've ridden this bike, the more I've gotten used to the engine and the more I've learned to appreciate it. It does what you want it to do. You can be cruising down the freeway at 85 miles an hour, 6th gear, gearing feels great, and then you just wick up the throttle and you want to get around somebody, and it does what you want it to do. For a 650cc bike, it's great. You know, it's not the type of engine that's going to give you thrills and excitement, but it does its job very well. Now, one thing I did notice is going through the gears is fine for throttle response, but if you're cruising along in, let's say 4th gear, and you're going on and off the throttle because maybe you're splitting lanes or whatever, it's a little jumpy when you get back on the throttle. It's not bad, I've had worse, but it is there a little bit. The shifting feels really smooth going up, no problems there. I do notice when you downshift, it's a little bit of a longer throw and it's a little choppier. You know, there's like a clicking there. Once again, it's not a deal breaker, just something that I noticed. I do like the gearing on the bike. It revs at about, I think it's 6,000 RPMs at 85 miles an hour, which feels great. Going through the gears feels good. You don't feel like the gears are too far apart. One thing I noticed on this bike is it is very smooth. When you're cruising down the freeway, buzzing along 80 miles an hour, which out here that's like the average speed, it's not like there's a lot of vibration in your hands, in your feet, on the saddle, you know, in the mirrors don't vibrate. It's just smooth, which is nice to have because, you know, it's an adventure bike and you do long rides at a lot of freeway speeds and you want to be comfortable, right? Now, I've ridden this bike on some twisty roads, obviously even getting up here into the mountains, quite a few twisties. The bike handles very well. You just lean into a corner, it does what you want it to do. You don't have to fight the front end to turn it. It doesn't want to push wide. It just pretty much just point it and shoot it. One thing I did notice that I love is the braking. The Brembo brakes on this thing are very responsive. You just barely get on them and they do what you want them to do. If you brake really hard, the ABS works great. So kudos on the brakes on this bike. Now the windscreen, it may look small and skinny, but it actually does a really good job. High speeds down the freeway. I feel wind on my arms. I feel wind around my helmet, but it's not buffering. It's not pushing my head around. So yeah, it does a great job. And if you want more wind protection, there's an accessory for that Moto Morini offers you. The clutch pull, it's just a little bit stiff, and it's not really even fair for me to say that because I'm used to my Africa Twin, which has a hydraulic clutch, and I can pull that thing in with one finger. I mean, I can do clutch on this with 2 fingers, no problem. But if you come up to a red light and you got it in gear and you're pulling in the clutch, you start to feel it. So just drop it into neutral and let the clutch out. I would say the clutch pull is, you know, average. Now, when I first saw the tires on this bike, I thought, ooh, those look like they might be noisy. But I've ridden on all kinds of streets around here, in the city, on the freeway, all different speeds. They're actually pretty quiet, which is a great thing. You don't want really noisy tires. I have heard of some people experiencing noise in the tires. I would say that's just because of where you live and the way they make their streets. So what do I think of the bike overall? You do need to consider the price tag, what you're getting for your money, and I'm gonna have to say, as far as looks, performance, the warranty, the 3-year warranty, I'm sure this thing's proven reliable. It's been around for 3 or so years, and the motors, the Kawasaki design that's been around for a decade or more. I have to give this thing like 8 or 9 stars out of 10. Of course the bike's not perfect. It's hard to get 10 stars on any bike, so 8 out of 10 stars, that's a pretty good rating. What I really like about it is it's a rare bike. Okay, and let's say when you get the bike, you're like, okay, I want more power out of this thing. I mean, you got to consider, I'm riding this thing bone stock, and I came off an Africa Twin with a tune on it, with exhaust, all the motor mods. You know, I went up 2 teeth on the rear sprocket. So you can do the same for this bike. There's great tuners out there for this. Rapid Bike is one of them. There's plenty of exhaust systems, full exhaust systems. Change the air filter out. Go up 2 teeth on the rear sprocket. It's all out there available for you. So there are ways to get more performance out of this machine. All right, let's do an ABS test. I'm going to bring it up to about 50 and jam on the brakes. Oh yeah, very good. No skidding, you can feel the brakes just barely kicking off. It wasn't even that harsh. I've hit ABS on some bikes, I'm like, oh god, that's terrible. So, not bad. Now, when I first learned about this bike, my first question was, what about accessories? You ride an adventure bike, you want accessories, you want crash bars, you want luggage, you want lighting, skid plate, exhaust. Because this bike has been around since 2021, there's tons of stuff out there. Not to mention Moto Morini has its own accessories. They've got their own aluminum hard bags for the side. They have a top case, I guess I call them cases, hard cases for the side, a top case. Really nice units, well priced. They have a lower crash bar, an upper crash bar, hand guards to block the wind off your hands, an adventure screen that's bigger. I think it's 4 inches wider and 2 inches taller. They have another skid plate. They even have a very cool slip-on exhaust by SC Project with their branding on it. If you Google the X-Cape, you'll have all this stuff pop up, even from premium companies. There's a lot of premium exhausts out there, premium skid plates, and I just want to let you guys know, this is my test bike. The next phase for this bike is doing a complete bike build. I'm going to go through this whole bike and upgrade it with some very cool stuff. I'm going to squeeze a bunch more power out of the engine with a mapping system. We've got a full exhaust system. I'm really excited to see what that does for it. It's going to be kind of a rally style looking bike, kind of racy, all new graphics, more compact, lighter, trim it down, and just make it more aggressive, more bold, more awesome. You guys want to stick around for that, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and check all that out. That's starting real soon. Now, the most shocking thing about this bike is the price. This is a 2024. These go for only $79.99. Right now, it's June of 2024. If they still have any 2023s left in stock, you can get a 2023 for $69.99. Both of those prices are crazy for a bike of this caliber, with all these premium features. Marzocchi, Brembo, Kayaba shock, great electronics, 7-inch TFT, ABS braking, steel braided brake lines, Pirelli tires, tubeless spoke wheels. I mean, where else are you going to find that? The craftsmanship is fantastic, the fit, the finish, it doesn't vibrate. It's got great lines, a great look, everything. It looks, the quality is there. This isn't a cheap Chinese piece of junk. Everything looks great. You don't look at it and think, wow, that's a really inexpensive bike. Now, some other great things about ownership of this bike. Once again, 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, which is fantastic. They do have a U.S. headquarters in Irvine, California that stocks all the parts for this bike you'd ever need, probably more things than you would ever need. And what's great about this bike is the first valve clearance check is until 25,900 miles. A lot of you guys won't even ride this bike that far. All right, guys, I guess that's it for this ride review. Go check out Moto Morini at Moto Morini USA. If you're wondering where to find a dealer, they have a button there to locate a dealer near you. So check out all the accessories for the bike on the website. Check out their other models. Anyways, guys, I'm done. I'm gonna go do some beautiful riding up here in the mountains and catch you next video. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.